Hello and welcome back to the PC podcast. This is episode 5. I'm Hannah and I'm joined by
Lucia. Faith, Storm Eowyn has affected a lot of people in our school community this past week, and we are taking our time to interview somebody in year 14 who's personally experienced the power outage, which has had a lot of effect over lots of us over the past week, and some people are still have their electricity out. Sam's here had his electricity out for the past weekend, yes? Can you tell us a little bit how it was like?
It was bad. It's from around the Balnagark area near Bleary, and a couple power lines were out because there's a couple of trees down, and there's one outside Knocklemuckley Church that took out a whole power line. In my house, for the only source of heat we have is the fire burning in the living room to heat us, and the only source of power was through power banks that were previously charged before the storm, and also going into town to get electricity from my grandparents' house to charge and fill up hot water bottles.
And how did you prepare for the storm? Did you know that your power is going to go out? Has it happened before? And how did you guys eat? How did it did you have to go out every day to McDonald's? Was that closed on the day? But
Uh, we prepared through it, well, obviously by charging our portable chargers and all electronic devices, but I didn't think it would go out for as long because normally it would be about maybe 24 hours, but a lot of people are out, 189,000 homes, I heard. And for food, we just went out. For the first night, we went to Four-Star Pizza because I remember that being open. And and then the next day, we went just to places in town like Chimes, which was very nice. And yeah, then the park came back on at Monday around 3, which is a very nice surprise. It was meant to be out to the 3rd of February.
personally, I was working on Friday night and it was really, really busy. I work in our local chippy, Gordy's, and it was insanely busy. It just was scary to see how many people were affected by this storm and how many people needed food because they had no electricity. Um, and yeah, it was quite frightening to see that there were so many people affected in different ways.
definitely, I agree, Hannah. There was just so many in our community that are affected and are still being affected. They're not getting their electricity back till the 3rd of February, which is genuinely insane. And we all agree that it's a very sensitive topic, and we hope everyone gets their electricity back soon.
It's especially hard for vulnerable people as well as the elderly. So we hope everyone out there is staying safe and is reaching out to those who can help.
So thank you very much to Sam. So moving on to our school play this year, it is Witness for the Prosecution, which is an Agatha Christie play. This will be on this Wednesday and Thursday, the 5th and the 6th of February from 7 o'clock in the Assembly Hall. So we will encourage everyone to come down, and you can reserve tickets by contacting the school. And the prices are £5 for adults and £3 for concessions. It's definitely a really good night out, and if you enjoy the theatre or would like to support the school, please come along. We're here with Emma and Misha. So guys, you want to just give us a wee rundown on what levels you are studying?
I do English, IT, and Moving Image Arts.
I do RE, Moving Image Arts and English.
So uniform's always been a very highly debated topic. So Emma, I was wondering what your thoughts are on both sides of it.
Well, I think personally that uniforms definitely promote equality because it reduces visible differences between students and whatnot, so it could reduce bullying as well because they provide a sense of order that can lead to better behavior in students. But obviously there's always like cons with uniforms as well. It definitely like limits self-expression and the ability to express individuality at our age, as we are most creative at our age. It should be something that we should be allowed to express, in my opinion. There's also the cost of it. There are a lot of big brands that schools are kind of demanding us to buy from, and it can be like really expensive. There are some families who maybe go for like a week without food because they have to buy their children uniforms, which isn't that great. And it also has there's a lack of comfort in uniforms as well because they're not designed for comfort, making students feel overall restricted and they affect their concentration.
I have to say that while uniforms can be quite costly, the Portadown College tries to lower that cost for all of us and has PC secondhand clothing events. PC actually sells the uniform secondhand and they do a lot of events for it, and it's a really good way to save costs really with the uniform. And I think Portadown College really tries to make it accessible for all of us.
As well as that, schools said that they can give you some grants, especially for primary school children and for ones older than that. But for the UK specifically, like England and Northern Ireland, we don't get anywhere near as much as other places in the UK, such as like Scotland can get £120 to £150, and Wales it can be £125 to £200. But the UK wouldn't give anywhere near as much as that, such as like £70 at the most for a older than 15 person. So that would, some people say that wouldn't even cover a blazer for them in school. But a lot of like schools were kind of more ignoring it and saying that it's kind of, you give yourself more of a community in school, and that, you know, if you are using loads and loads of different clothes every week, that the cost will rise up and become more than a school uniform would ever cost over the 3 or 4 years that you're using it. And then there was a Department of Education pre-consultation with schools, and it states that teachers showed an overwhelming support for the continued use of school uniforms. So it's more students that are always, student and parents that are always going against this rather than the schools.
One thing I have to say though is that I'm quite jealous of the people in England who go to sixth form because they get to pick their own clothes every day, and I feel like they don't pick, it's not just simply non-uniform, they have to wear formal clothes themselves, and I feel like that really prepares you for a work environment and workplace even more than our school uniforms, because they are building their work clothes slowly, their formal attire. And while they do have a dress code, I think it's really like, I think it's really lovely that they get to pick their own formal attire and really kind of um, embrace their independence while kind of staying in that work environment clothes type feel.
I completely agree with you, Lucia. I love the idea of getting to wear our own clothes and figure out what we would like to wear while keeping it very formal. The only problem with that is it can be quite expensive finding your own formal clothes to wear to school. Although I agree it'll build up. They can use the same clothes later when they're in a working job, but it can be quite expensive, and I feel like that isn't taken into account. Yeah, so I think cost of uniform as well as non-uniform is a very important factor to this debate. What do you guys think?
Well, me and Misha have done a bit of research. So we have found that the Minister of Education, Paul Given, has been trying to lower the costs of uniforms through the school uniforms bill. And this is hopefully going to be put into place in autumn of 2025.
I also have to say that I really wish that we had the Scottish uniforms over here because they get the freedom of individuality within their uniform. They're allowed to wear whatever skirt they want. They can wear whatever shoes they want, and they don't even have to wear a blazer with their uniform. While they still have an attire, they just have to wear their school colors, like a school jumper.
What are all of our opinions on jewelry when it comes to school? Because personally, I think when it comes to piercings and necklaces and bracelets, I don't see the harm in them. When it comes to times like maybe doing PE, I would understand you might want to take them out for a risk of safety and stuff, but I personally love if schools allowed it.
I think that it helps, like jewelry helps to promote individuality, like getting like a nose piercing or like a face piercing, ear piercing, I don't know. But I feel like it lets you express yourself a bit more.
I think that in the terms of it being distracting, I think if you had a very extreme piercing, like such as maybe not a septum piercing, but such other ones like unnatural ones, that wouldn't be as popular with people. Um, Maybe that would be more, somebody would possibly just get annoyed by it in class. You could hit off things, but I think in the general, just ear piercings, you know, nose piercings, I think there really shouldn't be anything against them. I think they should be fine to be allowed in school as long as they're not extreme.
Yeah, no, I think I do see on one hand why maybe there are more stricter, mostly because probably the old argument was, oh, in the workplace, like it wouldn't be like that, like this is strict and all this. But nowadays, like a lot of workplaces have like kind of moved with the times, and they don't really have much of a problem with piercings and things unless it like hindered with the sort of job that you were doing. But mostly I don't really think there's much of a problem either. Thank you very much to Emma and Misha for joining us. We really appreciate your input.
We hope you enjoyed being part of the podcast and we hope to have you on.
Thank you all for listening.